There is a certain way of speaking that doesn't stop at her ears. It lands on her skin, like a slow, deliberate touch tracing its way down her spine. Most women are accustomed to being called baby, honey, or sweetheart. But when you use a different kind of phrase, something shifts. It feels like more than a casual label. It feels like a sudden spark. It feels like warmth spreading. Her body leans forward before her thoughts catch up. And once you understand how to use language this way, she won't only hear what you say, she'll feel that you are there with her. You don't need complicated tricks. You don't need clever spells or rehearsed lines. What you actually need is meaning that's real. Because when a man speaks honestly, at the right moment, with a calm and steady sense of certainty, he doesn't just get noticed for a second. He lingers in her thoughts. He doesn't only reach her thinking mind, he reaches her body, her emotions, her inner world. He becomes something she senses, something that stays softly present, something that doesn't fade after a few minutes but remains alive in her memory. Let that idea settle inside you for a moment. Let it move with your breathing. Somewhere along the way, you were likely taught something that wasn't true. Someone probably told you that to hold a woman's attention, you had to perform. They said you had to be smoother, cooler, funnier, better looking, or more confident than you actually felt. They encouraged you to hide the parts of yourself that felt too intense or too deep. You were handed techniques, little strategies, clever moves, words and behaviors meant to look perfect on the surface. And yet, after all that effort, you're still asking yourself why it doesn't really work. Why, after trying so hard, do you still feel unseen by her? Think about it for a moment. You've seen people who talk endlessly but leave nothing behind. They speak, yet no one truly listens. Then there's someone else. She says very little, but when she finally speaks, the entire energy of the room changes. People look up, they lean in, the atmosphere shifts, and everyone feels it. That isn't some mystical trick. It's not luck, it's a real ability. It's the strength of someone who understands her voice and her inner drive. She doesn't rush, she doesn't guess, she speaks from her center, from a deeper place inside herself. And that is exactly what we're exploring here. Before we move further, pause for just a moment. If you're listening or watching, take whatever small action shows you're ready. Do it because you're done with being overlooked. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, and she still doesn't truly notice you, then what comes next could be the shift you've been waiting for. Picture this. You're standing beside a quiet lake early in the morning. The surface of the water is smooth, like glass. You bend down, pick up a small pebble, and let it fall gently. Even that tiny stone sends ripples across the entire lake. That's what meaningful words do. They don't have to be loud, forced, or dramatic. They only need clear intention. They carry weight. They are quiet, but they continue to be felt long after you've walked away. But what do most men do instead? They grab big rocks, they hurl them, they shout across the water, they create constant noise, hoping something will land. It doesn't. Because the answer isn't in the number of words you throw out. It's not about volume. It's about emotion, depth, and the feeling beneath what you say. Here's something many people miss. The deeper mind, the place where real attraction forms, doesn't respond to plain facts. It responds to feeling. It reacts to tone, rhythm, timing, presence, and unspoken meaning. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That idea doesn't only apply to inner growth, it applies directly to connection. A woman doesn't feel drawn to you because you explained yourself perfectly. She feels drawn when you awaken something inside her, something she can't easily put into words, something that brings you back into her thoughts when you're not there, something that bypasses logic and settles straight into memory. The problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. It's that you've been trying with the wrong approach. You ask her, "How was your day?" She replies, "Good." You follow with, "So, what do you do for work?" She answers briefly, and then there's silence. Nothing sticks. Why? Because your words didn't reach far enough. They didn't touch anything deeper. And this isn't because you failed. You were taught to perform, not to connect. You were taught to impress, not to affect. That can change right now. When you learn to speak with influence instead of noise, when you speak with emotional truth and proper timing, everything shifts. When you understand not only what to say, but how to say it, when to say it, and how to fully stand behind it, you stop fading into the background. You become noticeable without trying to be loud. You become felt because you are calm, grounded, and present. People sense that. She senses that. And in that space, you become someone she remembers. You don't need dozens of clever lines to start a connection. You don't need to talk nonstop. What you need are a few words spoken with full presence, delivered in a voice that is relaxed yet firm. You need a quiet confidence, a kind of strength that makes a woman pause and silently think, who is this man? This isn't only about dating, it's an art of being. It isn't manipulation, it's natural pull. It's emotional intelligence expressed through flow and presence. When your words have purpose instead of filling silence, you stop chasing attention. Attention comes to you. The mind doesn't cling to ordinary phrases. It remembers intensity. It remembers rhythm, tone, and emotional charge. It's not the sentence itself that stays with her. It's how she felt when she heard it. Remember this. People may forget the exact words you spoke, but they never forget how you made them feel. That's not just a saying. It's a truth, especially when it comes to women. She may not recall the precise phrase, but if your words reached her in an unexpected, sincere way, that feeling will stay with her long after. Picture another image. You walk into a dark room filled with balloons. Each balloon has the same words written on it. Hey, how are you? Just checking in. The air feels heavy with sameness. Now imagine you don't add another balloon. Instead, you bring a single small flame. You light it. Instantly, every eye turns toward it. The entire atmosphere changes. That's what genuine energy does when it has purpose. Many people avoid speaking from a deeper place because they're afraid of not being understood, afraid of seeming too intense, too emotional, or too serious. So they play it safe. They send the standard messages. Polite, harmless, forgettable, and safe never leaves an impression. Presence does. Feeling does. When your words paint images, when they open doors in her mind, she doesn't just hear them, she experiences them. You stop being just another message on her phone or another voice in the room. You become a feeling she wants to feel again. Not because of the words themselves, but because of the way you spoke them and the person you were when you did. From this moment on, let this be your standard. No more empty talk, no more words just to fill space. Let every message, every sentence come from something real inside you. Not the version you think she wants, not a polished performance, just you. Stay with this, because what follows goes even deeper. We're moving into how to create moments with words that don't just catch her attention briefly, but hold it long after you're gone. These are the words that settle in her chest and echo in her thoughts, the kind that slip past logic and live in memory. This is where the true shift starts. Think about a simple line, only 3 words. 3 words that can quietly change everything. You and me. It sounds small, ordinary, not dramatic, but don't underestimate it. These words aren't meant to be thrown away. They're meant to be felt. They create an image, a shared space, a subtle invitation. Say it softly in your mind. You and me. Its power comes from its simplicity. Sometimes the deepest emotional movements don't come from long speeches. They come from quiet phrases that slide straight into the nervous system without resistance. When you say, you and me, you're not starting a conversation. You're creating a moment, a shared frame, a gentle connection that lingers. When you speak like this, with calm intention and real presence, your words don't disappear. They stay. You and me, you're not pleading. You're not pushing. You're not asking her to decide anything in that moment. You're simply placing a seed into the space between you. You're offering a soft image, a quiet suggestion. And here's what most men never learn. The female mind, especially the deeper layer where attraction actually forms, doesn't respond best to long explanations or logical arguments. It responds to images, emotional signals, strength, and suggestion. Picture this clearly. You're sitting with her. The energy is easy, there's laughter, the mood is relaxed. Instead of saying, "I really enjoy talking to you," you lean in just a touch, smile slightly, and say, "You and me could have dangerously good conversations." That's it. You didn't flatter her. You didn't overdo it. You didn't ask for permission. You created a possibility. You painted a small world that didn't exist before you spoke. You could even add something like, "You and me, we'd win any argument, especially if we're on the same side." Feel that difference? That's not awkward. That's not forced. That's not some rehearsed pitch. That's a moment. That's an opening. It's an invitation without pressure. Now maybe a small voice inside you whispers, "Is that too bold? What if she doesn't respond? What if she thinks it's strange?" Here's the truth. You're not saying it to secure a guaranteed outcome. You're saying it to leave an impression. And impressions live longer than reactions. They stay in her thoughts, even if she doesn't show it right away. Because this isn't about chasing anyone. It's about standing fully in your presence. That's real confidence. That's pull. These are the moments that make a woman pause. Not because she feels pushed, but because she senses something unexpected, a possibility she didn't plan for. So when the feeling is right, don't hold back. Don't shrink yourself. Don't retreat into safe silence. Drop the spark. Place the image gently. Say it with calm certainty. Say it easily, but let it carry depth. You and me. It's not a trick. It's a window. It's a passage. And this is only the beginning. Those 3 words are more than a phrase. They reflect how you see yourself. They don't work because they sound clever or because you memorize them like a script. They work because of the energy behind them. When you say them with quiet belief, without urgency or need, they communicate something deeper without saying it directly. The unspoken message is clear. I'm not waiting to be chosen. I already know who I am. Remember what Jung pointed out. The deeper mind is drawn to clarity, to symbols, to grounded confidence. When you speak from that place, you're no longer just someone talking. You become the signal. You become the steady flame in a world full of doubt, hesitation, and second guessing. You become the calm point people orient toward. Let's look at this again. You've probably heard someone say, "Do you maybe want to hang out sometime?" Listen closely to how that sounds. That's not confidence. That's someone gently knocking on a door while holding the key in their hand. It's asking for approval instead of owning space. Now shift it. Try this instead. You and me should check out that spot downtown. Feel the difference. That's presence. That's not a question. That's direction. That's leadership. And if she connects with the feeling behind it, she'll follow naturally. No force needed. Ask yourself this honestly. Do you want to be remembered as the man who guarded his truth, always careful, always safe? Or do you want to be the one who said one unforgettable thing that made her feel something real in her chest? Because energy always tells the story. You can say all the right words, but if you deliver them hoping they work, they fall flat. But when you speak, knowing your presence is enough, everything changes. That's when she tilts her head slightly. That's when she looks at you differently and thinks, he's not like the others. It's not about being louder. It's about being deeper. It's not about aggression. It's about being centered. That is real masculine strength. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it stands steady and calm. It speaks with quiet certainty that naturally draws people in. So stop asking to be invited. Start being the invitation. When you stop trying to prove your worth and instead speak as someone who already knows it, the energy shifts completely. That's when you stop being overlooked. That's when you stop fading into the background. That's when you start being felt, not just in the moment, but long after the moment ends. And now we move into timing, the sharp edge where so many men miss, not because they said the wrong words, but because they said them at the wrong moment. Timing matters more than most people realize. When you learn how to deliver truth without pressure, you'll notice how differently she listens. Stay present here, because this part is about precision. It's about emotional accuracy. Understand this clearly. Your energy enters the space before your words ever do. You can say the perfect line, but if your tone carries worry, if your timing feels rushed, if your body language asks for approval, it won't land. That's the part people avoid facing, because it means you can't hide behind clever phrases. It means your whole being speaks, not just your mouth. You could say "you and me" 100 times, but if your eyes dart away, if your voice trembles, if your posture collapses, it won't work. Not because the words are wrong, but because the energy behind them doesn't match. Now picture two men. One says, "You and me would make a dangerous team," but his arms are crossed tight, his gaze drops, his voice sounds thin, almost hopeful. The other man says the exact same words with open posture, steady eye contact, a relaxed voice, and a subtle smile that says, "I'm grounded either way." With or without her response, he's complete. Same words, completely different impact. And you already know which one stays in her memory. Quiet confidence is rare. That's why it's powerful. It feels solid. Most people don't know how to simply be. They only know how to perform. But energy doesn't lie. It always reveals whether you're standing in strength or reaching from lack. No matter how polished your appearance is, no matter how smooth your phrasing sounds, the truth underneath shows itself. Real strength doesn't come from volume. It doesn't come from pushing. It comes from presence, from stillness. Look at her directly, not like you want something, but like you're simply meeting her there. Sit or stand comfortably. Not like your body is asking for approval, but like it already understands its value. That stillness you feel when you stop rushing, when you stop searching for the next line, that is your quiet power. Let it surround your words. Let it give them weight. When you say something meaningful, stop. Let silence exist. Let the moment breathe. That pause is where it settles inside her. That's where it lands in a way she remembers. We shouldn't even call this confidence anymore. It's alignment. It's when your inner world matches what you show outwardly. When those two things line up, she doesn't just hear you, she feels you. That's the difference between words that vanish and words that stay. Now timing again. When do you speak? Because timing is everything. Say it too early and it feels like pressure. Say it too late and the moment is gone. Say it at the right moment and you're not speaking to her thoughts. You're waking her attention. Don't rush. Don't throw your strongest words into a space that isn't ready. A grounded man doesn't speak to impress. He waits for the opening. And in real connection, that opening is everything. You could have the warmest presence, the calmest energy, the most meaningful words, but if you drop "you and me" too soon, it feels heavy, like a proposal instead of a spark. Pressure kills attraction instantly. Too early, she pulls back. Too often, it loses its power. The right moment is when the energy flows. The mood is light. There's laughter. She's leaning in. She's open. That's when you place it gently, like it belongs there. Not forced, not dramatic, just present, like lighting a small candle in the room. Imagine she's talking about a local food place she loves. You smile and say, "You and me should check that out. Let's see if it lives up to the hype." That's it. No pressure, no waiting. Just an image placed in her mind. You didn't ask. You stated it calmly, then you let it go. You didn't cling to the outcome. You didn't wait nervously. You trusted the seed to grow on its own. That's attraction. Not a chase, not a demand, a quiet statement that stays. Most men fail here because they grip too tightly. They want a reaction immediately. But the man who knows his worth drops the line and allows space to carry it. He understands the power of release. He knows that what's real doesn't need to be forced. He understands that sometimes she won't feel it right away. Maybe she notices it later when she's alone, driving home, or sitting quietly with her thoughts. Suddenly the words return to her. You and me would make a dangerous team. And without trying, she smiles. She feels something shift. She doesn't fully know why, but it lingers. That's not manipulation. That's meaning. That's alignment. That's a wave passing gently through her inner world. And the most powerful part of all is this. If she truly feels it, you won't need to repeat yourself. You won't need to follow up. You won't need to chase anything. Your words will already be echoing quietly inside her. A man who speaks this way doesn't just leave behind a mood. He leaves a symbol, a small inner story that lives beneath her conscious thoughts. He doesn't strain to be remembered. He doesn't try to stand out. He becomes unforgettable simply through how he speaks, how he moves, and most of all, through how he releases control. He knows when to speak